Yeah, Miles, Coach Stefanski a few minutes ago that you are retiring from basketball. Is this true? And if so, is it your call or his call?
Uh, I feel like it's more of like a Jordan retirement. I went to baseball for a second, slash I went to basketball for a second. And now I got to go back to what I'm good at, what I usually do, playing football, rush passer, stopping the run. The next season, you never know. I might go back to basketball. I might go play baseball, see if I can get on a team. But like there's more on the horizon right now. I gotta get back to what my main focus is.
Yeah, the highlight videos spoke for themselves. So, last fall, late in the year, you talked about having difficulty at times breathing, coughing after contracting COVID-19. How are you feeling right now? Several months away from catching the virus.
I'd say I feel great. I feel the best I have since last year before COVID, and it's a wonderful feeling. And I felt like it was kind of a long road, and now that I'm back, I'm feeling well conditioned and feeling back in my peak. The world's ahead of me.
Thank you, Jake. Tom Weathers is next.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Miles, did you make your last dunk a good one?
I think that last dunk was either reverse, double pump, or a windmill. So I had to go out with the bang.
Nice. Hey, how important was it for you to be here? I mean, you're obviously one of the leaders of this team. Why was it important for you to be here at these voluntary workouts?
As a really D-line and kind of as a defense, we decided we need to be there to work with the younger guys, get some work in with the coaches, and for everyone to be able to get on the bags, work on their technique, get on some cleats and a helmet. I know it's been a while for some of these guys, so just being able to do that, work on your craft a little bit, and work on the plays so it kind of flows a little bit more seamless than if we were to take such a long extended break from each other and not know each other's tendencies and know how we are on the field.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tom. Tony Grossi, you're up.
Hey, Miles. Of course, you suffered through an 0-16 season, and now the team is a Super Bowl contender. I'm wondering, when you see that the Chiefs have such a large attendance at their OTAs, do you feel the Browns are falling behind a two-time AFC champion?
Not at all. I'm glad they have attendance, but just because they're getting work at their facility doesn't mean we're not working just because we're away. Our defense is getting work. Our guys are working on their craft just away from home. We have that freedom and that liberty. And when we get to game one, we'll see who has been gelling better and who's got the upper hand.
And I was wondering your first impressions of number 58, Malik McDowell. He's kind of a mystery player, hasn't played in the league for 4 years, but out there on the field, you'd never know it. I mean, just the physical look of him. What's your impression of him?
I don't know yet. He's been held out for a little bit, so kind of waiting and seeing to see how he is on the field. But he seems bright. He seems very attentive into what we're doing. And he likes to ask questions to coach to make sure that he's on. Like when he gets back, he's immediately able to plug and play. So I like that about him already. And I'm hopeful for the guy. I'm hopeful for what he can do for us.
Okay. Thanks, Miles.
Thank you, Tony. Mary Kay Cabot, you have our next question.
Yeah, Miles, can you just talk about what makes you feel confident about your health heading into the season, that you've overcome the COVID issue, and then also have you talked to a player like Andrew Billings who opted out last year because of asthma? Can you kind of relate to what he went through, knowing that you suffer from something sort of similar?
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for doing it. I have asthma as well, and that's probably why it hit me so hard. So, just going into it, I feel like we have the vaccine, we have another year of protocols to keep our players, our staff safe. So now I feel like it's up to us to get the job and the work done. And a guy like AB, I don't think he has any worries of how it can be taken care of. And he has many different avenues he can take to remain healthy and keep his family safe. And I'm just glad we can all get together for this time and work on getting to know each other.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Matt Fontana, go ahead.
Yeah, Myles, obviously the other videos we see a lot, you work out as a lot of, obviously pro athletes do. Is it possible to like quantify or explain how much more work can you get done here in Berea at OTAs versus the work that, people are doing individual? Is there a big gap between those two?
I wouldn't say there's a big gap between like your work away and your work here. I feel like when you're away, you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to be on yourself about how good you want to be. That's about pushing yourself as far as you want to go. Here you have people for that. I mean, they can't want it more than you. You'll never get to where you want to go. So just being able to, hopefully, when you're away, have some friends and family who can help push you when you're feeling low, or just keep you on the right path. That's a big thing if you're away, if you're traveling, or if you're staying in another state, country, whatever. But when you're here, you have guys there, you have coaches that, you have staff who's going to always have your back and keep you on the right path. So when you're away, it's a little bit more risky because it's on you, and it really shows your integrity. See if you've really been doing the workouts that they've had, or a program that you've had made for you. So I feel like I hold myself pretty accountable, and it's paying off.
And I think it was Greg Newsom who said he's seen some of your videos and that motivated him. Baker posted one the other day. We see Odell. Is that motivating to you as well when you see your teammates either, on Instagram or social media out there getting the work in too?
Man, heck yeah. I love seeing my guys working. And for me, it's like I just got to outwork the man I was, the day before. I always got to be better. Nothing in life stays the same. You either get better or worse. And I'm seeing them get better. I want to elevate myself. I can't let them beat me. I know we're on the same team, but I can't let anybody outwork me. And if I can beat that man that was yesterday and then trying to catch him, then I can always stay one step ahead.
Thanks, Myles.
Thanks, Matt. Jeff Shadell, you have our next question.
Myles, you have so many new guys on defense. How long will that take to blend together? And when you have the Chiefs in the opener, would it be almost better to have your team together a few games anyway before facing them?
I think it'll come together quicker than most people anticipate. I like who we have on defense. I feel like offense stayed pretty much the same, except for a couple new additions. There's a lot of guys who play some good football that we've added to our roster. So I won't be surprised that they come in here and start making plays immediately, just because that's what they've been doing. And our defense isn't absolutely exotic. They come in, they're smart, they're quick as a whip, and they'll be able to catch on and follow suit.
Thanks, Jeff. Didi King Kabbalah, you're up.
Hey, Myles, building off of what Jeff just asked you, when you do have so many new players on defense, how does your responsibility change? Are you aware or conscious of doing anything more or different as you incorporate these new guys?
I just got to make sure they fall in line. We've got a good thing going. I can't let, whether you're coming here from another team, older, younger, we all got to be on same uniform, same standard. We're all held to that same standard, and then that'll lead us to success. I gotta treat those guys like they're all one of my own. Whether they've been here for as long as I've been here, or they just got here Monday or wherever. So as long as we hold each other accountable, and I hold them accountable, try to get them to work as hard as me, and they catch me when I'm stumbling or I'm falling, I think we'll be successful.
Okay, so on that note, if I can ask you about the workouts too, Anthony Walker just called you a huge human being. I spoke to a Steelers player 2 weeks ago who said you looked massive in one of your photos. Can you tell us, have you indeed put on more weight? And if so, why? Why did you feel you wanted to get even bigger than you already were?
I can't tell you that. I got to leave that as a mystery for when we
Oh, come on now, Myles, please.
If he thinks I look larger than usual, I'm shook when I run up on him. I'm glad they think that. I've been working hard. I've been trying to elevate myself, every year. And I think with how I have been working, the progression, 1-2 times a day for 4 or 5 days. I think it's gonna pay off big time, but I don't think I've lost any speed. So I don't want them to get any ideas I'm a little bit slower, but that's not the case.
Well, to be fair, Anthony did also say that you are as flexible of a big person as he's ever seen.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Myles.
Thanks, Aditi. Dale Ryder, you're next.
I got to ask you first, Myles, about that viral video you posted of you postering that poor dude in the gray. First of all, what possessed him to think he was going to challenge you at the rim? And were you shocked he didn't make a business decision to get out of your way?
You see, when I looked at him when he was on the ground, that was all going through my head. What were you thinking? I know you didn't think you were going to go up there and get that. So he must have wanted to be in the highlight, or he saw the video and he wanted to be a part of it somehow. But it was, he made the video.
All right, to more serious pressing issues here. Just going into your 5th year here, you've been through these off-season programs. Obviously, you felt it was important enough for you to be here now in May. Just as a veteran, what do you glean from these the on-the-field work that you're doing, and what do you take away from these sessions?
Man, just getting to adjust to each other, know where we're at in location to each other, our calls, how we even pronounce things. Sometimes the guys don't understand, the call from the linebacker to the D line, or from DTs to DNs, or vice versa. Just being able to hear each other, understand each other's voices, tendencies of going out there. It's like, man, well, he's always going to be a high energy guy. Got that. So I'm gonna have to match that or exceed it. He's always going to be the hard worker. He's always going to lead. So I have to meet him there. Stuff like that. You gotta be able to know that coming in, to the season or to camp. So like when that stuff starts happening, when the bullets start flying, you don't panic. It's just, I've been with this guy and I know how he's going to react. And so I think we're all good.
Thank you, Daryl. We'll take 2 more for Myles. Nate Ulrich, Scott Petrick. Nate.
Hey, Myles, good to see you. With you mentioning that, you have asthma as well, and that you think that's probably why COVID hit you so hard. I'm just wondering, I think we all say and write that you weren't quite yourself after that. But how hard was it? Like, were you 70% when you came back? 80? Was it less than that? And then also, how frustrating was it? You were right there in the thick of it for Defensive Player of the Year. And obviously that affected that candidacy.
Sure did. And it hurt too. But man, I don't know. Like, as far as like getting off the ball, like I didn't feel like I was getting off the ball slower. Like, athletically, I felt like I had. Conditioning wise, I felt like I was like 50%. I don't think I've ever had to use oxygen so frequent and so like early into a game that I think Tennessee. And I don't think I had like a huge amount of snaps, but I was like hanging on. Like once you get tired, like you start losing like the play. So you're trying to think of like what you're supposed to do here. And if you're thinking what you're supposed to do here, you can't think about the alternatives or the options off of that. The pass rush moves or the rip and release for run blocks. Once you're thinking about just trying to remember the play, you're not thinking about running calls with your DT. Like things start to slip, and then you're not thinking about alternatives you can do with your hands. You start to just rely on one move, and like all this stuff starts to weigh on you. So I'm just trying to get my conditioning back, and I'm fighting through that when I get into games and into practices. And like I think I had like a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half, and then I was honestly like emptying the tank. I don't think I've ever been like that. So to not feel like that is great. I'm glad I've recovered, and hope nothing like that happens to me or anyone else.
Thank you, Nate. Final question goes to Scott Petrick.
Hey, Myles, when the Browns players put out the statement in April about skipping the voluntary program, Were you on board with that? And then if so, what changed that you and a bunch of the guys decided to show up this week?
I was on board. I've seen a lot of guys that they're in different places doing their own thing, and I mean it's all about being comfortable. When you're working, you're grinding. You want to get out of your comfort zone, but you can't get to that point where you want to do that if you're not comfortable where you're at. And so I have no problem with guys being somewhere they feel at peace with their mental health and mental stability, where they feel like they're in a good place with their family, their friends, and they can give their all. And so I was completely on board with how the guys felt, where they wanted to stay. As long as we got back and we got some work, and we didn't lose out on anything. We were able to still communicate, get on Zoom calls, still get in on meetings. So nobody was just losing it as far as the playbook, and we weren't losing out on the meetings with coaches.
Does it go the other way? Like JC, who's been so vocal, is he comfortable with you and so many guys showing up for these?
Yeah, I mean, he views it as our choice. It's not like we've been here the whole time.
Right.
We came in, we wanted to get some work in together, and that's what they've been doing. They've been getting some work in together, just away from the building, and I don't think they're working any less hard than we are. So it's just a different place. I feel like getting in one place with the rooks, the younger guys, everybody in the same building. That hasn't happened. So we like to make that happen for a little bit so they can get adjusted. The offensive guys, they've mostly, they're intact. One group that's stayed the same pretty much. Defensive guys, we feel like we have to start that a little bit earlier. And I think it's going to work well for us.